Special thanks to Sherry and Carrie Andrews and family for all the work you guys have put into getting this ready. We've got a couple of speakers we'd like to bring on, but first of all I want to tell you all, the ice cream truck is competing with me right now. Ice cream! We have a table in the back. If everybody has a moment, please stop by and see Debbie. She's at the back. She's waving her hand. Debbie's got some paperwork here today. We've got a petition. If everybody can take a moment and get that signed, we're going to be getting that off to Governor Hickenlooper and do what we can to kind of start to speak as loud as we can. We started this Clemency for Donny Andrews' cause about 3 years ago, and just getting more and more awareness all the time. As you all know, this is a huge injustice, and it's about time we become as aggressive as we need to become. And so you have a couple of different ways that you can get your voices heard just today while you're here. If you haven't already done so, do please sign the petition. There's also going to be letters back there that you can sign that are pre-written to the case manager, Donny's case manager. We have self-addressed stamped envelopes. So all you need to do is read it, make sure you feel comfortable with it, and go ahead and sign it. We'll get it sent for you. Okay? We're going to have an opportunity today to hear a couple of wonderful and amazing authors and inspirational speakers who we really appreciate coming. Also, we're going to open the mic up at the end of our presentations to be able to have anybody who would like to say something come on up and say it. This is being videotaped today, so just so everybody knows. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that we are trying to get some media attention for Donny. Another reason is one of these days we want Donny to be able to see this and see all of the support that he had and see all of your wonderful faces here today. So this is being videotaped. First thing I'd like to do is introduce Hassan Latif. Hassan is a certified addictions counselor in Colorado, providing addictions counseling services primarily to people on parole and probation and people also living with HIV. A nationally certified cognitive behavior change facilitator, Hassan facilitates groups and speaks at various Colorado Department of Corrections facilities and halfway houses. After spending almost 18 consecutive years in Colorado penitentiaries, Hassan embarked on a career trying to help others to avoid prison. He is the founder and executive director of the Second Chance Center, where people with histories of incarceration can find employment, job training, job mentoring, and avoid recidivism. Hassan is also the author of Never Going Back, 7 Steps to Staying Out of Prison, a guide that can be found in prisons and jails throughout Colorado and the United States. As a member of the board of directors of the Colorado Criminal Justice Reform Coalition, he helps to drive the organization's mission to reverse the trend of mass incarceration in the state of Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Hassan Latif.
Thank you. First of all, to Donny's mom, I appreciate even being invited out here today. And since this is being videotaped, let's let Donny know, because he's going to see it at some point in time, that he got his folks out here and they got love for him and they want him home. So, Donny, we love you, man. I'm here today with my wife, Imani, and she represents what many of you represent here in this crowd, and that's loved ones who don't give up on their people. Donny and I, we don't go back to Columbine like some of you are here. I met Donny in the Arapahoe County Jail at the beginning of his ordeal and the beginning of mine. Odd thing about it was, I was in court the day that Donny was sentenced in Arapahoe County, and I saw his legs give out on him. I understood that feeling that day because I was already stacked up with a lot of years myself. And we wound up walking the yards together at Territorial during reception, late 1989, early 90s. And our paths separated from then, and we wound up taking different scenic routes through the state of Colorado's penitentiary system. But I saw Donny again, as irony would have it, about 3 months ago in the same facility, Territorial, where I now am blessed to be able to go in and work. And the odd thing is that when I go in Territorial now, I wear this badge and it says, no escorts required. When the first time I came there, I had 4 escorts of my own from Arapahoe County. Someone called my name, and I looked, and I saw this guy. He wasn't quite as slender as I remember him. A little grayer like myself. And he said, Hassan, it's Donny. You remember me? I said, of course. And we talked a few minutes, and he asked me to be a part of this process, this effort of his. But the first thing I said to him was, damn, dude, you still here? You still here? I couldn't believe that I was standing in the same yard 24 years later talking to Donny Andrews in the penitentiary. Now, I don't know how much y'all remember about, I remember Donny's incidences. I remember why he got the attention he got in many of these counties. I remember Eugene Thompson. I watched his final minutes live on TV. And I know good and well that Donny was approached as he was because he was the last man standing. Not because he ever hurt anyone. Not because he ever hurt anyone other than himself and his family with his addiction issues. I was shocked to see Donny standing on that yard 3 months ago. And I imagine we're sitting here today, and this is not a festive event. Even though I'm telling you right now, he would be happy to see all your faces here. I was just kicking it with someone, Rick, and he was telling me about his days in Columbine. And Donny would be happy to know that you all gathered here, especially in a scene like this, quite different than he's been accustomed to the last 25 years. I'm preaching to the choir here, but part of my work is the promotion of possibilities and people being able to change their lives, improve their situations, definitely deal with addiction issues and come back from that. I myself am a person in long-term recovery. I don't like to say it like that when I do my work because that sounds too sanitized. I'd rather say I'm just a dope fiend I just don't use. And November 1st will be 24 years that I'm clean. And Donny and there was a time when I was very angry about my whole incarceration process. But over time, I came to understand that even though they had gotten a lot of things wrong, they had the right guy because I was running amok and I needed to be stopped, and I probably would never have done so on my own. And during that process, I was able to find a way to get on top of my addiction issues for the first time in my life, as Donny has, and have been blessed now to be out here. This is my 8th year. One of my favorite movies is a movie called Seabiscuit. Anybody in here ever see that movie? Well, one of my favorite scenes, if you don't recall it, is when this man who's looking to buy horses, he sees this guy off in the woods or the bushes, and he's working with a horse that's damaged. And somebody says, what does that guy do? He said, he's just a bum. He hangs out with that horse. So that night, the man came to his campsite, and he asked him, he said, is he going to get better? He said, he already is. He said, will he ever race again? He said, not that horse. He said, well, why are you trying to fix him? He said, because I can. He said, he could be a good plow horse or pull a pony or something like this. What really got me when he said, you don't just throw a whole life away because it's banged up a little bit. I know some of y'all feel like that's what they've done with Donny, and in essence, that's what they did with more than half of his life. But understand this process, whether you know about it or not, he's undergone some really significant personal growth changes inside during this process. And it's taken a long time for him to come home, and he's not home yet. But I guarantee you, at least I feel very confident about it, that he's going to be so much the better for it. And not only are you guys never going to have to do without him again, but Donny is probably going to be the reason that other people don't have to suffer what many of you have along with him, because he's even influential in that setting. That's just the kind of guy he is. That's just the kind of personality he has. Some of you know that from way back. He hasn't lost that. It's been refined, under fire. Andy reminded me of an evening that we met. And we met at a club off of Sherman in Denver, Sherman 16. Very fancy club at the University Club. This one is inside the University Club. It's even fancier. It's called the End of Courts. And it's a club of judges and lawyers, and the Attorney General was even a member, and for some reason they lassoed me in there. The first time they ever went to do an event there, they wouldn't let me in because I had on jeans. They said I was dressed inappropriately. This time I was on the agenda, they let me in. I was dressed better too. But that night, a man sitting behind me tapped me on the shoulder during the presentation. They happened to mention me on a PowerPoint, which I was surprised. I didn't know about that ahead of time. This gentleman patted me on the shoulder, and he said, "Didn't I sentence you?" I said, "Yeah, 50 years." This is the same gentleman that sentenced Donny, Judge Don Leopold. So at the end of the event, the MC comes around with a mic similar to this, but no cord. She said, "Did anything interesting happen in the table conversation that people would like to share?" I said, "Absolutely. Let me get that mic." You remember? I said, "This gentleman right behind me sentenced me to 50 years in the penitentiary," and all the air got sucked out of the room. And I said, "I'm actually glad to see him." People lightened up then because they thought something was getting ready to jump off before then. I was glad to see him for one reason. And that's because I wanted to have a conversation with this man. I asked him after the event if he remembered the last thing he had said to me, and of course he did, and I was one of thousands. I told him I had mentioned you at an event 3 months ago, but I didn't use your name. I've been using it ever since, y'all. And he said, "No, what did I say?" "You said to me, we shouldn't be seeing you again, Mr. Lateef." And I said, I felt some kind of way about the finality of that. We had a conversation that evening, a long conversation, because we found ourselves both working towards the same kind of goal, which was to improve the reentry efforts and resources for guys coming out of prison. And I wanted him to understand that when people in his position make these kind of final decisions about people's lives, that one, that's not always how it winds up. And two, sometimes it just isn't right. In my case, it was an instance of it not ending up the way he's planned, and in Donny's, it's just a case of just not being right. So I support Donny's efforts. I've already written Governor Hickenlooper on Donny's behalf, and it was a pleasure. I didn't have to make anything up. Everything came from the heart. And when I say that he needs to be out here, I have another friend I'm hoping we can do this for next year. His name is Abram Arrington, and he's been in since the year before Donny, the only person in the system that I know of who never actually committed a crime. And he's been in prison 24 years. So Donny's not alone, y'all. So please continue these efforts. Sign the letters, those who haven't sent them. Sign the petition. You might think that these kind of things don't really amount to much, but they do. And if there's anything else that I can do to be a part of the process, please, Shannon, Ms. Andrews, don't anyone hesitate to call me, because I'll be wherever. And I want to be back here, maybe next year or the year after that, when we're breaking bread with Donny, and he got this mic in his hand. So I appreciate your time and your love for him, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Amazing. And it's amazing how how this brings people together. And there are so many more people out there who need this kind of attention. And so, we're just kind of getting the ball rolling. So thanks for getting it started. Next up, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker for the day, Mr. Andrew Matson, author and motivational speaker. Andrew is the author of the book Choose to Do Right, A Proven Path to Criminal Rehabilitation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Matson.
Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I appreciate everybody taking their time and coming out supporting Donny. I actually spoke with Donny Wednesday evening, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all of you from him. I know that he would, if he was here right now, he'd be very appreciative and thankful. And thank you to Shannon. She's done some amazing things, and Donny's parents for not giving up. One of the reasons I invited my mom, who's here, and my good friend Christy Nelson, and my wife, Trish, and my 2 kids. I do go back with Donny, back to Columbine High School. I was thinking not too long ago, I was a couple years ahead of Donny in Columbine. But we often went to the same parties, and often ended up in his, I don't know if his parents remember, he drove a big boat of a car. And we'd all pile into the back of his car and take off and go do things we probably shouldn't have been doing as teenagers. But, back in those times, and I don't think that any of us here are the same people that we were back when we were teenagers. I think we've all grown and we've all changed. And I know that Donny has. I'm sorry. I'm just passionate about this. Donny, we weren't real close. We were friends. We'd say hi. We'd hang out. But I'll tell you what, Donny was never mean. He was never violent. He was always looking out for everybody that was in his group. He was never hurtful, even back in high school. And believe me, I know guys that were that way. I know guys that are in prison that were that way, that should be there. I had the opportunity, and I heard about Donny getting sentenced when I was in prison. I actually went to prison for a lot of the same type of things that Donny did. Burglary, theft, forgery, dealing with drug addictions and drug habits. And while I was in prison, I was sitting in a prison cell and decided, look, I'm either crazy or stupid, something's wrong, and I've got to figure it out. I remember on the phone talking to my mom one day, and my mom saying, look, Andrew, you've been in and out of trouble most of your life. You need to figure out what's going on, or else you're just going to get out of prison and go back. And from that time on, I, really focused on what do I need to do, what's wrong, how do I turn my life around. And that's kind of where my book came from, was the things I found out about myself. And so, as I got out of prison, and I've been out a little over 10 years, I spent 15 years straight in prison. I had prepared myself to be successful when I got out, while I was in prison. And my mom came to me one day and said, look, you need to write down all the things that you've discovered about yourself. And that's kind of where that book came from. I had the opportunity, about 3 years ago, I went to Buena Vista. DOC asked me to go back and speak to some of the inmates there. And I spoke to the inmates, and as I got done with my presentation, and really my presentation is about hope. Look, if anybody can turn their lives around, if I can do it. And Donny was in the audience there and came up to me, and he came up and gave me a hug, and he said, you remember me? And I was like, I know you from somewhere. I'm Donny Andrews. And it was then, and I was kind of the exact same as you, right? You're still in here? I remember going through all that. In fact, in that boat of a car, Eugene Thomas was in there. I remember him being around. He was, he wasn't always the nicest guy though. So it was tough to see Donny still there. When I saw him there, I told him right away, look, we need to keep in touch. I sent him a letter, and he got on my phone list. And I've had the opportunity over the last few years to sit and talk with Donny. And I, as well as Hassani, I guess we gravitate towards this. But when I got out of prison, I went back to college. I graduated with a degree in psychology. And then went on to the corporate world and ended up working as an auditor. And now I'm doing project management and an account executive for a large corporation. So I kind of got pulled away, but my passion is helping those around me. And so I frequently go into different prisons as well. And but over the last few years, I've had the opportunity to really talk with Donny and to get to know him better. And I'll tell you what, Donny is a different person. He's a better person. He's somebody that I believe would be successful if he was given an opportunity to get out. In fact, I know he'd be successful. He has followed a very similar path that I took while I was in prison. Trying to better himself, recognizing that, look, I'm messed up and I've made mistakes, but I want to be a better person. I want to move forward. I want to help others. And I think it's a similar path. And all the individuals that I've had the opportunity to speak with, and there are a lot that have been to prison and have gotten out and been successful. I've been able to put together certain attributes and things that each of these individuals have. And Donny represents all of those things. Thinking about other people, being kind, helping others. Those are the types of things that really Donny does now. He's now in the system. He was helping the physical. He was a physical aide at Territorial for a while, and just he's always been a helper. You know, there's so many things that, as I was thinking about this and writing down what I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to say about today. And right now, they're like racing through my mind. I mean, the bottom line is, the reason why I think we're all gathered here today is that we want to let Governor Hickenlooper know that people are here, that they support Donny. This isn't a political issue. I was speaking with somebody not too long ago that said, you know, the politics right now aren't right. The time isn't right for Donny to go back. Too many things have been happening in this last year with the murder of the prison director and everything else. And, you know, I told her, I said, this isn't a political issue. This isn't an issue for mercy. I'm not asking for mercy. This is about what's wrong and what's right. It's wrong that Donny's still in prison after all this time. It's wrong. And I challenge Governor Hickenlooper and all those individuals that have the power and the authority to right this wrong, to do that. To stand up and be brave and do what is right. That's what our country's about. I mean, we try to do it stand up for what's right in all these other nations around the world. And I think that sometimes we get lost and we forget about doing what's right here. You know, I know everybody here knows about the statistics of that the United States incarcerates way more people than any other civilized nation in the world. Why is that? Just as Hassani said, I know a lot of individuals that really deserve an opportunity and could be successful. The thing that I was talking with, I go down and speak for 7 Habits on the Inside program. And it's a program that Jerry Gaskell, he was the kind of the chief guy when I was in prison, and probably Hassan was in prison as well. And you know, I was telling him, and he still goes down because he believes that people can change. And really, that's my message when I go down there, is look, you can turn your life around. You can be successful. You can be happy. You know, what I want them to do is to understand it and feel the joy and happiness that I've been able to experience in my life. And I want Donny to have that opportunity. And there's others down there that I want to have that opportunity. I think it's time for our legislators, for the governor, for our people to stand up and say enough's enough. And to do the right thing, to take a stand. I once heard a saying that the only way the evil will win is for good people to sit down and say nothing. And there's a lot of truth to that. It's time now. We need to become the squeaky wheel. I mean, if we can have people... I'm very thankful for all of you here, and I know Donny will be thankful. I appreciate this opportunity. I just pray that Donny will have the opportunity soon to see these recordings, to come out and thank everybody, because I know he'd be doing that. He's staying focused and positive, even where he's at. And I'll tell you, it's a difficult place to stay focused and positive. You know, prisons, the way that they're set up, they're not set up conducive to change. They really aren't. Sure, they throw some programs out there and you know, say, oh, this is what we're doing to change these guys. But it's not set up. It's a negative environment. It's a negative atmosphere. And it really takes a strong individual to remove themselves from that environment and to focus and work on themselves and move forward. I believe that guys, when they get out and are successful, they do it despite what happened in prison, not because of it. You know, I believe that together we can change this wrong. I believe that together we can make it become right. If we all stand up and we all do our part, but it's going to take everyone that's here. And it's going to take us asking our friends and getting outside of the comfort zone. Talking to people about this. This is, you know, sending people to prison for what they do is just not right. For the amount of time that they do. What is a life worth? What is a life worth? Thank you again very much for coming. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Andrew. Very heartfelt. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Hassan, thank you for sharing your story with us. We have a lot of people here today, and we talked earlier today about giving everybody an opportunity to come up and say something that they want to say. I'll go ahead and kick that off for us and tell you a little bit about mine and Donny's friendship. I was 12 years old when I met Donny. So, you know, we were both kids, and it's really hard for me to swallow the idea that Donny has spent 25 years in prison, only a quarter of his sentence, and to remember the Donny that I know, that I've known for the last 30 some odd years. Donny was my first kiss, and let me just tell you, I am the one that had to push for it. Donny was quite the gentleman. I was the one asking him, are you ever going to hold my hand? He had the best manners. Donny was and is an amazing person, gentle soul. Everybody here knows that. Everybody who knows Donny knows. This isn't a violent criminal. This isn't somebody who hasn't learned his lesson or who has any ill intentions at all. Donny has served his time. Donny has paid his dues. And Donny does need to be able to come out and be a contributing member of society, just like Hassan and Andrew. I'm honored to be in your presence, and I can't imagine, a system that would keep people away and keep people like you and like Donny put away in a society where we really need some strong, loving people, people who can come and contribute to society. And I do believe that Donny is, one person we're just waiting on. It's only a matter of time before he can come out and touch more souls like Andrew and Hassan have. So, I guess I just wanted to share a little bit about what I know about Donny, because I'm going to keep on fighting. And I appreciate so much that he's got so many supporters who are going to keep on fighting as well.
I have a question.
Uh-oh, Hassan has a question. I didn't say questions were allowed. No.
Do you have your eyes closed?
I have my eyes closed. Donny reminded me that our first kiss was behind Lily Gulch in the big tire behind Lily Gulch. No, we did not have our eyes closed. But yeah, what a gentle soul. And, honestly, I can just say that probably Donny is somebody that I would trust with my life. He's somebody who never crossed any kind of boundaries in any way, and just what an amazing, gentle soul. So, I'd like to open up the mic for anybody else who'd like to come up. Don't feel like you have to say much. Do remember that this is our opportunity to get some things on video, and Donny will be able to see these someday. We're going to make sure of it.
Good afternoon. We come here from Pueblo to wish the family good luck with Donny. Our son is Donny's cellmate, so we know what the family has gone through. And it's good to see all these people, the many friends that he has. So good luck to everybody, good luck to Donny. Our son says he's one of the best friends he's had in there. So good luck again to all of you.
And good luck to Anthony as well. And thank you for, what an amazing supportive family Anthony has too. God bless you. So feel free to come on up. Anybody else? Don't make me keep talking. I'm not good at this stuff. Well, the mic is going to be here. Feel free to come and grab it. Okay.
Thank you, Shannon. Most of you know I'm Donny's dad. Anyway, but there's a couple of people here I'd like to thank because they've really been supporting Donny. First of all, Vernon and Priscilla, would you guys stand up? Vernon and his wife's been with Donny since day one, and they really helped us out here today. So I just want to say thanks to them. Thanks to Rodney here, who's doing the camera work, and his wife. That's their son. And I just wanted to mention a few names and stuff, and thank all of you for coming out and supporting Donny. Thanks.
I know, on the spot, right?
Hi, I'm Debbie Carroll, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Brandon. I would never have known about this wonderful family. I just have the greatest respect for Doug and Sherry and Carrie and all of the faithfulness and devotion they have shown to their son and Brandon and Kayla's uncle. I just can't imagine getting up and driving 100 miles away every other Saturday for 26 years, and knowing in their hearts that it's like it's a brick wall. No, it's like hitting your head against a brick wall. And I think that it's just a symbol to me of how to keep at it and have faith, because when something's not right, people need to recognize it and do something about it. And Brandon wants to say hi to Uncle Donny too.
Hi, Donny.
I think I'll take the opportunity if it's okay.
Thank you.
I'm Andrew's mom, and you know, it's easy to say don't give up hope, but I gotta tell you, over the years, sometimes my hope was really strong and sometimes it was ebbing. It was hard. And I said to Andrew one time, you know, for me to know for sure you're gonna come home and have a life and have some joy and happiness, you're gonna have to practice living responsibly while you're in prison. You can't wait till you come home. It doesn't work that way. You got to practice it. And 2 or 3 or 4 things happened with Andrew throughout this time that gave me a sure hope that things were going to work out. The first thing was he worked in the kitchen in the prison, and he's a big guy, and he loves to eat, and he would take extra food because he could. You know, he was there cleaning up, he was there serving up, and he would take some extra food so he wouldn't be hungry later. And on one of our weekly phone calls, he said, "Mom, I've decided I'm not going to take extra food anymore. It may be a small thing," and it kind of was, because he was raised not to steal, but he saw that as stealing. And he said, "Mom, I'm not going to do it anymore. That's going to be my first small step to living responsibly." And then, one Christmas, you know, after he went to prison, he got a handful of nieces and nephews. And he also got a job when he was in prison in Minnesota, putting toys and things together for a company called Jacob's Trading. And that Christmas, he had used his paycheck to put together a great big box of toys that he had purchased, that he sent home for his nieces and nephews and for his brother and sisters, gifts for people, because he wanted to feel normal. He wanted to feel like he had control and that he could do something sweet and kind and good like that. And the next thing that happened was that, and this is all in Andrew's book, but one of the things that he really talks about that a lot of people who are incarcerated need to learn is how to give of themselves to others and care about others. And I'll never forget the first time he sent me home in an envelope and a letter money to pay his tithing. And it was just a whole host of little things like that that finally gave me that sure knowledge and that hope that he had truly figured it out. And that was the most wonderful thing. And you know, I wish the best for Donny and his parents. It's a horrible thing that has happened to him. And mamas never give up, even as the hope ebbs and flows. Don't give up. Just keep at it. And I think that with so many people behind him supporting him, that something good can come of all of this. Thank you for listening.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Sherry, Doug, Carrie, your family, you guys have been so supportive of Donny, making it up, I don't know, a couple times a month at least to go see Donny and make sure, keep him smiling. I can honestly say, in all the years I've spoken with Donny, I've never ever heard him lose hope. You know, and they say that resilience comes from having a strong support system. And he's got an amazing support system. You guys are wonderful.
Hi, Donny. This is your Uncle Eric. You probably don't even remember me. It's been so long since we've seen you. But me and my wife have never given up hope. We keep you in our prayers. We appreciate you being there and being straight and doing everything right. Thank you.
I'm Donnie's niece, Kayla. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and supporting him. I know this means a lot to my grandma, and my grandpa too. I've been going to see Donnie since I was a baby. Not even, a couple months old, and I've been going to see him my whole life. And it's so hard because I remember when I was little, we would just sit there and play games and have fun and joke and laugh, and then a couple hours was up and then you have to drive all the way back home. And I try to go see him as much as I can. It's just really hard for me because just seeing him locked up and not being able to go outside that often or to be able to, go to the bathroom in privacy, it's weird to me to think about that life. And I feel like he has kind of given up hope over the past few years that I've been talking to him. He's just, every time I go to see him, he's just really sad. He's really depressed. He feels like no one cares. So thank you everyone for coming out and showing him that you do care and there's people there for him because he doesn't think that there is. So thank you everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Wow. So many lives have been touched, by this. Kayla, thank you. That was very touching. If there's anybody else, please come on up. Otherwise, continue to mingle, and if you haven't had an opportunity to visit with Debbie, please remember all we need are your signatures. Just take a moment to step back to the back of the room. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time.
My wife's a little bashful with, strangers. I don't want her to feel like that. I really think that you'll need to hear from her.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lonnie. I'm sitting there and I'm feeling all kinds of emotions, which is one of the reasons why I was hesitant to speak, because I can't imagine what it's like for your child to be in that situation. And I waited 18 years for my husband to come home. It was a lonely life, but I raised my son. And I understand totally how easy it is to give up hope and how easy it is to think that other family members or other people out there in the world don't get it. People don't get it, and they don't understand why we have faith that things are going to work out right. I had my family basically say, "You're crazy, you're too young to waste your life. Why are you going down there every weekend? You need to find somebody else," all those things. But I have a deep, abiding love and faith in God that whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. And so I want to say that. My husband came home 7.5 years ago, and it was a surreal situation, after all those years. We envisioned it being like this Kodak moment, and it's really not. It was more like, oh my gosh! When he got home for the first time, you think all those years it's going to be one way, and I'm not going to say more than that. But then on the other hand, it's like surreal. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that this person is actually in my home. And then it's sort of getting your life back together, adjusting. So, who are Donnie's parents? Okay. I just want to say that you're going to have that Kodak moment, but you're also going to have the whole adjustment, because I do believe that he will be home soon. And try to be as patient during the adjustment period as you've been all these years, because they see things in a very, very little world right now. Their world is very small. And when they get out here, there are endless possibilities, and their world is big, and sometimes it's very intimidating and overwhelming. I envisioned a life for my husband. I said I wanted him to sit on a porch and grow old with me. He always envisioned that he was going to go out in a hail of bullets, like that life was just going to be this whole chaotic thing. And now our life is so wonderfully boring, and we are growing old together. So don't give up hope. From what I've heard, Donnie is just an amazing guy who, through all of this, has stayed true to himself. And I believe that he will be home soon. God bless you, and please don't give up hope.
Thank you, Amanda. Donnie's mom, Sherry.
I just asked her when he does get out, she'll help me with him.
We got our arms around.
I want to thank everyone for coming, and I'm so happy to see the big turnout. And once you come home, Donnie, and you will come home, and we're here for you. You have a home.
Whenever we go to see Donnie, we always play card games. And every time we show me magic. And it's fun.
I've known Donnie for a long, long time. In fact, I had him in school. I got him in special ed. And he was a very sweet, kind, quiet boy. This really floored me when I heard all of this. When it isn't Donnie. It just is not Donnie. So, anyway, I wish him good luck, and I wish Donnie good luck.
He lives next door to us, and we meet at the mailbox, and Jerry says, "When's Donnie going to come home?" Is he ever going to come home?
This microphone can be intimidating, I know. Well, I just want to say, where's the camera? Donnie, I miss you. Thank you for staying in touch. We're going to keep fighting. We're not going to give up. Governor Hickenlooper, you'll be hearing from us. We believe in you. We believe in everything about you, Donnie. We believe in our justice system better than, and we know it can be better than this. And so, thanks everybody for your continued support. The mic is not yet completely turned off. Please do feel free to come up and just grab our attention if you feel like you want to say something. So, Donnie, love you.
Governor Hickenlooper, we just hope that you can look at Donnie's records and realize that he never hurt anybody. He didn't do things he shouldn't have done, but we just pray and hope, and we got a big crowd of people here today that's supporting him, and that he may be considered for clemency. And if not that, then maybe for an earlier parole. But please listen to us. Thank you.
Governor Hickenlooper, I would just like to say I really support clemency for Donnie, and I hope and pray that you will take a look at this case and see what has gone on over a lot of these years. And I'm sorry somebody was passing in front. But I want to thank you for the attention that you will give this case, and we just thank you so much.
Hello, Governor Hickenlooper. I'm a good friend of Donnie's cousin Annabelle, and I feel like he served his time for crimes that are way over, being punished for that are way overboard of the punishment. Give this man a chance to have a life, please. We are all rooting for him.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I'm Donnie's niece. Donnie's been in prison my whole life for over 25 years. I'm only 20. I've never known him outside of prison. I think it's time for him to come home. I don't think it's fair. I think he got too harsh of a sentence. I would really like if you could just review it, maybe give him a second chance. I believe everyone deserves a second chance. He's not a violent offender. He's really trying to get his life back together. I know he's taken some classes and working with people and talking to people and counselors and just doing his very best. He's been on really good behavior, so just please give him a chance.
Hi, I'm Sherry Andrews, Donnie's mother. We would like for Donnie to come home. He has a home to come to. We love him very much, and we miss him very much. Thank you.
Governor Hickenlooper, we love Donnie, and we hope that you'll let him out soon.
Governor Hickenlooper, this is a non-violent offender who's been in prison for far too long, and way too much time and too many taxpayer dollars spent to keep a good man in prison.
Hello, Governor Hickenlooper. I just wanted to take a minute to ask you for your time and your attention to this matter. My childhood friend Donny Andrews has been in prison for 25 years. He's only a quarter of the way through his sentence. I believe in you, and I believe that if you really, really knew what was going on with this case, that you would not accept it and that you would do something about it. All I'm asking you to do is look at the facts of the case, and please just give your attention to this matter. I know that this is a wrong that you would want to right if you looked at the facts of the case. Thanks for your time.